One.
Hello.
Hey, Lisa.
Now that was the surprise.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, right.
Wait till she finds out we're streaming this to like 50 people.
Well, I'm not going to tell her that part.
Yeah, that's been one big change in our house with everybody working from home or school from home or whatever. I always assume that somebody is broadcasting into something.
So where's Mr. Dixon?
Running late. He said he's trying to get home.
Trying to get home.
I don't know where he was today.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Ken Keno.
Keno!
Hey!
He phoned in. I can't believe it. I can't believe it took me 17 years to understand that your nickname is actually Ken O, pronounced Keno.
Yeah, well, you know.
Sometimes
better late than never is what they say. That was my handle in Warbirds and all that stuff. I used that before I even got into Growl and No Toads.
So are you the keynote speaker for this engagement, for this conference?
Ooh, nice one.
Ouch.
Yeah, so I'm failing at this. I guess we just try maybe a little bit.
Well, I see it live on YouTube.
Raptor failed.
So what do you think about the next gen cars? I haven't driven it yet. I got Sexy Walter painting me a new car for that.
We did testing in 4 separate sessions. Aside from all the rest of the driving that we've done, we did testing in 4 separate sessions at Talladega, Charlotte. So we did a play track at Talladega. We did a mid track at Charlotte. We did a short track at Bristol. And I set up Pocono, but I was the only person that actually had to do Pocono. It handles with a full fuel load. It handles very nice. The only gotchas were with the rear independent suspension now, as opposed to the light axle, where the track coming out of 4 transitions back to flat. It's almost like an off-camber bank, and the outside rear tire loses traction. So the first few laps, it'll catch you, and like our first 2 or 3 laps, every one of us spun in that transition. But then we learned to either move a little bit to the left or to get out of the gas just a little bit so we didn't spin up the one tire. Aside from that, it is a phenomenal car at full fuel. We're going to test it with less fuel and see how it goes.
Big thing, Keno, when you hit 4th gear, don't forget to click the shifter one more time.
Yeah, I saw your post on that. So don't forget you have another gear after that.
Yep.
Unless you're by yourself on a plate track, in which case 4th gear is faster.
And sometimes that 4th gear is faster. That's why you don't even realize, wait a minute, I still got another gear in this thing.
Yep.
Damn. Well, like each car, there's an adjustment. Went from Arca to Xfinity and then these next gen, you know, it's just a learning curve in there.
Oh yeah, always. Raptor, I think we're up and running. I mean, I see us on YouTube, right? We're good?
Yeah. I messed up the settings somehow, but anyway, it's up there. Everybody's on the screen. That's all that matters.
Okay, yep. So, hey, let's officially kick this thing off. I know it's a few minutes late or after the hour. People are listen to us ramble. So here we are.
It's like every Zoom meeting ever.
And on cue, there is Mr. Slider Dixon. So I think we'll just do a quick, around the screen, so for those who haven't seen my picture in the weekly newsletter or something like that, I am Gary started, the one you guys fear and trust. Sometimes think, what the crap is this guy up to? You guys want to go around, introduce yourselves? And I guess I could say, I'm the oldest
I'm on the
tenured
phone.
member of the league, right? I'm not the oldest.
Well, I think I got you all. I'm 61.
Puppy. I'm 67.
Ha!
Oh yeah,
You're just a puppy.
sure. You're a pup.
I feel a whole lot better about myself right now.
So we got Al Rafter Corey, we got John J.C. Campbell, we got Will P22A45. I don't know why there's so many letters on your Jester. We got Terry Cougar Fullwider, John J.B. whatever nickname he's going by this decade, Barton, Alan Slider 3 Dixon, Kevin Cobra Burns, and Ken Keno Olson on holiday. So.
Kino's just a phone icon today.
Yeah, I had to run into the data center. I had a couple of decoms in there. I just made it. I can't get on a laptop here with this, so I have to use my phone.
Well, Slider is doing some kind of psychedelic color changing thing over here. So
He's
I-
got his finger on the lid.
If you'll be patient, I'll have it.
Ooh, orange now.
This is what happens when it's last minute.
yeah, you've
Actually,
only
he
had
had
2
me-
weeks warning.
I feel like the quality of this content is exactly what people were expecting.
And you're fortunate that was him and not me, because I don't Zoom or race with pants on. So
yeah.
There, now you can see
See,
me.
now you-
wagon.
Yeah, now I feel even better about myself since you turned your camera on.
Why, you feel like now you're not the Lone Ranger anymore?
Oh my God, what just happened?
Oh man, we don't need to see that. We haven't
this-
seen that in many years.
And this is why the memo went out. Wear your shirt today.
Well,
JC porn.
Oh, wait a minute,
our
I got a
YouTube channel just got blacklisted. Thanks very much.
I got another one here. Here we go.
Oh God, thank you a lot.
So for those watching, all right, this is Mr. Dixon over here. This is Chaz Goatley, former champion, and John Boutin, former member right there. So we'll get some more pictures like this year as we do some of these meet and greets and like next year and get some stuff going.
Wow, I had forgotten about having monitors like that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the big. Yeah, I had taken SUV to get everything there.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd kick us off with some trivia. I've been crunching some numbers. All right. So how many points races have we had in the Premier Series? I'm calling the Sunday night. This season, by the way, we've got two. We've got Sunday night Xfinity. We've got the Monday night ARCA. So how many races have we had, points races, not preseason, all that, before tonight's race?
173.
You seriously want us to answer that?
Yeah.
472.
174.
Obviously, nobody remembers my hoopla about the 200th race.
No.
Oh, I thought you
Well, see, the first problem with that was you would assume we actually pay any attention to it.
Okay, there we go.
And I'm gonna presume that these are the Price is Right rules. And I'm gonna go.
That's right. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
So it's 200 plus then, obviously.
It's 200 plus. Yeah.
Man, nothing gets by
216.
you, Rafter.
Now, if
All right.
we're going to have a trivia question, the answer can't be 200 plus. There's got to be a number in there.
All right. 245. Tonight will be number 246. That means
Nice.
our season finale at Homestead is actually going to be our 250th points race in the Premier Series.
That's cool.
Another milestone. Yep. Yeah.
That's
I
very
mean, by the
cool.
time you add up our practice races and now the ARCA series and the truck series and oh my God,
Probably
we're
double.
probably double. Yeah, we're probably close to 500.
Yeah. So we've run what on average 11 races a
11 races a year.
for 20
We didn't
years.
run a lot. We didn't run a lot of years.
That's what I think is what he's adding up to. Is like, hey, don't worry about that, 13-year hiatus we had. We've overcome that.
I get a lot of grief from certain people in the league about us strutting ourselves around with a 20-year anniversary when we didn't race for 13 years.
We were just waiting the patch eye racing. Yeah.
It was only it was a separation. It wasn't a divorce. All right. How many different drivers have raced in the Ntrl points races?
246.
How many?
246.
No. Drivers. Go back down.
Yeah, 246.
I mean, some of them are no longer alive. So.
Oh, thanks for bringing the room down, Dixon.
Yeah, one of them was a good friend of mine.
I'll say 135.
Close. Very close. 125.
That's a big number.
Yeah, 125.
So-
You're right.
So since we're running about 30 drivers right now, what you're saying is there's 90 people that we've ticked off.
No, what he's actually saying is 125, 124 of them have got trophies except Al.
Oh, that was awesome.
Slider, did you go get yours?
I can go get one of them. The other one's
Go
just
get
sitting in the office at work. But I can go get the last one. Hold on.
Surprised you don't have it on the hood of your car.
Yeah, I hear you. I have a truck, in case you forgot.
Put it right there next to the ram head.
You know, I think that now I'm going to go get a old Mercedes.
So you faded out. Go what?
Now I'm going to go get an old Mercedes to mount my car.
No Mercedes.
There's one for you.
All right, everybody.
Very nice.
Trophies up, everybody.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep.
Yep.
There we go.
Very nice.
Trophies
Very
up,
nice.
Raph.
Rafter, this is what they look like, in case you were wondering.
I'm there with you, Al. I don't have any either. So.
And you and I are among the best drivers in this league, Will. So it just doesn't make sense.
But Will, at least you're a nice guy.
All right. So. All right. So who has our most championships?
That would be the gentleman that doesn't have a picture up, a video.
Yes,
I don't have.
Yep.
Is my camera not working?
Oh no,
No,
your
it's
Kevin's
not.
Note 10 Plus.
Boy, when you retire, it just all went to hell, didn't it?
So I knew the answer to that question. I knew that KB had the most. But what seasons were they? Remind me what seasons they were.
Well, does anybody remember how many he has?
He has 5.
Nope. Yes.
I think
6.
6.
Six.
Damn.
Impressive.
Season 7, 8, 11, 12, 14, and 15.
Yeah.
The thing about KB with his driving, it was always the mistake-free stuff. You know, he wasn't the guy that was going to go out and just put a just mega quick lap time down, but he was going to do the same lap time over and over and over again until you die.
Yeah.
I answer that question of who's got the most championships in NTRL, the answer would have been not Rafter.
This is a roast rafter session. Is that what this
Yeah. You all need to move on to a different topic now.
All right.
You think
Who has
that's really going to change anything?
who has the second most championships?
Not Raptor.
That's probably me.
That would be correct. You
Yeah,
have
I would
3.
go with that. Yeah.
Yep, you have 3. You won in seasons 3, 6, and 17. Yeah,
Yeah,
with a gap in between.
Three was when you decided you wanted to actually pretend we were actually NASCAR.
Yeah, we actually did what, 33 races
30,
that
30
season?
well, I don't know. We may have done all 36.
I'll look real quick. Yeah,
I was looking at those stats the other day, and I just my eyes bugged open when I saw the number of races in the season. I was like, "Damn, that's hardcore."
That's
No,
when
it
we
was.
decided. Yeah, that's when we decided.
That's when we
it was
decided
easier to
that
break
we
it
didn't
up.
want to do that. Yeah, we decided we weren't going to do that again.
Yeah, it's like it was way better to break it into sizable chunks. For one, nobody could show up that many weeks in a row.
Well, the cool thing though was it made for real good numbers on my trophy.
It did. It did.
So 17, Dixon, you won 17. Did I hear that? So was that the last season we did NASCAR racing?
It
Yeah, I
was.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Last one on in our 2003. Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
So you won a
And that was
championship
it?
with a field of about 6 drivers. Is that correct?
7. No. It'll be 7 because I'm gonna count you.
All right.
Oh, man.
How many other
Yeah,
people have multi-championships? And who are they?
I'll bet you it's not many.
Hey, that's a good
correct.
question.
Not many.
I'll take 4 in total.
There's actually only one other.
Really?
Yep. And it's Chaz.
Okay.
Yeah. Chaz has 2. Yeah, Chaz has 2. He got seasons 9 and 10. He did back to back.
Well, God, I'm glad we restarted this just so I could get back ahead of him.
Hey, there's Keno. I can see his
Hey,
face.
Keno.
Uh,
Now we can't hear you.
yeah. Let's see. What else have I got for you? So how of than our more recent ones. Let's see what else.
Yeah, that's another one. Then when you realize how old you are when you raise their father, and then
Yeah. So for everyone who's listening, doesn't know, Skylar Carnes and his brother Trey are second generation Toads. So I tried to get my son into it. In fact, he did race with us twice, maybe in season 17, but doesn't have the bug, whatever reason. Oh well. Let's see. Who has the most starts?
I'd say that's got to be you.
Yeah, that was kind of an easy one.
Yeah.
he needed something that he could toot his
I
horn
had to
about.
put some kind of superlative in the list that I could win.
You know, you should get a trophy for the most starts, Gary.
So, yeah, there we go.
I'll be making it up and sending it to you tomorrow.
Okay, little piece of toilet paper.
Raptor will design it for me, and I'll mail it.
So we've had 245 races. I've started 222.
Wow,
so,
that's impressive, actually.
It is.
So
dedication.
Yeah.
How does that correlate to finishes? How many have you finished?
dig that deep. I wanted to stay on a high.
Right.
So who do you think's behind me?
KB.
It may be Wayne.
Correct. It is Wayne. 190 until we kicked him out. Sorry, Wayne, if you're watching. Or
I was gonna say you did realize other people can see this, didn't you?
Yeah.
There's our
While we're at
awkward
it.
moment.
That's very respectful. What I said was
here's this,
respectful.
Here's this quick commercial break from Coke Zero.
And here's your Mountain Dew. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope you choke on that.
Oh, so, hey, Sarge. Hey, Sarge.
Oh, wait a
Yes.
minute.
Hey, Sarge.
Here.
I got
That
some
will do it even better. There you go.
Almighty. Hey, Sarge, listen up. I got a couple of people who wanted to ask questions in this chat. So can I throw one out there?
Yeah.
All right. So somebody, let's see here. Dustin Barton wants to know how young we were when we joined NTRL and what got us into NTRL.
20 years earlier. Yeah, I was 20 years younger.
Yeah. No, I think looking at faces on the screen, everybody can kind of guess how old we were when we started. But NTRL, how did that get? How did you get into NTRL? I guess is a question if anybody wants to tackle.
So I guess
since you're asking the question, I'm going to jump in and go for it because there's a connection. I was playing a game which is actually still going called World War II Online, and I was in a squad with some friends of mine from Colorado, and one of them said, "Hey, there's somebody that works for this company that has a league and they do racing on whatever day it was, and we can go do that if you like." And so I joined them, and that person who worked for that company happened to be you, Al. And so I came into Growl, and Growl connected, like Gary was saying on Discord the other day. Growl connected with Ntrl, and I connected with Ntrl, and the rest is history.
So Gary,
It's a 3-year-old job.
yeah. So Gary, did I provide you guys with servers or something at some point? Is that how we got connected in Growl and NTRL?
That's the part I can't remember, how we hosted the first NTR races, because like I said in the article, we met during that intra-league event, which was 3 months after our first race. I don't know where we were hosted for those first 3 months.
So I know that I was hosting the Growl races on some box at PlayNet.
Yep.
And I what I don't remember is whether or not we started providing you hosting space.
I think you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a jump at that, Dixon?
If I remember right, so NTRL ran on Thursday night, and Growl didn't have anything going on Thursday night, so I think we used the same setup. We just changed.
That sounds right.
That race on it.
That sounds right. Other than
Growl was open setup.
Yeah, Growl was open setup. We were fixed, and we had open views, so we had some different configurations
until we did the interleague race.
Yeah.
Well, even after that, we were still open views, fixed setup, but I switched to the cockpit view to match you guys because I started running with you.
Right.
Growl.
Right.
And for anybody that may not be aware, Growl was a league that was comprised of Warbirds and Aces High and World War II Online pilots. And that's how I got hooked in with y'all was, I think, Rafter, you and JC drug me into this mess.
Same here.
Yeah, what does Growl stand for? I don't remember.
GPL Racing Online Warbirds League.
Okay. Okay.
Because originally Growl started as running the Papyrus GPL Grand Prix Legends sim.
Yeah. And as soon as I got involved with that, that was the end of the road racing.
All right.
Well,
you're only willing to host servers for circle tracks.
Yes, I do appreciate Rafter really did everybody a lot of help, gave everybody a lot of help.
The story I hear a lot of is the one Slider tells me about the server going down and contacting you through a babysitter, I think.
Yes. Well, I had a lot of experience with servers going down at that time, so I was prepared.
He was at, so what he's leaving out was he was at a Christmas party. And I called and she answered, and I told her, I said, now you're going to have to help me with this one now. Something about that he wasn't here, and I told her who I was, and we were trying to get a hold of him because we were scheduled to run the race and the server was down. And so I'll let you take it from here.
Well, I don't have a clear recollection, probably just third-hand remembrances from other people telling me the story, but I feel like I remember getting a phone call from her and she trying to explain in her own way who it was that was on the phone and why they were trying to get a hold of me at the Christmas party. And it bore a little resemblance to the message you were trying to give. I'll tell you that much.
The way I remember it is when you said something, they all assumed that the PlayNet, the World War II online
That's probably right.
Down.
That's probably right. Exactly. Like I said, we had a lot of ups and downs in those days. Well, I want to hear from Kino and I want to hear from Will.
Well, I want to ask one thing for you.
Trying to get JB,
so JB, who was the person that got you into this?
You know, I don't remember off the top of my head. It was Growl. I was a Warbird pilot and flipped over to World War II Online at launch because I wanted the newest, latest flight sim. Jumped into World War II Online at launch and got 5 frames a second. And
Gotcha.
it was a squad on the German side, the Iron Wolves. And so
was it Jim Ferret?
No, maybe I don't think so. It was one of the Iron Wolves.
Yeah, no, Jim Ferret was 31st Wrecking Crew. It's interesting. I'm trying to remember who else was a pilot that was in there at that time. I just can't remember who all was there.
And it's funny because I've got some photos of the two guys from my airsoft days in Colorado, but I cannot remember the two guys' names. They were the same guys that got me into.
Go ahead, Keno. Who got you in, and how old were you?
I was in my 30s, I believe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can.
And I was on Warbirds, and I believe it was JC. I was in the 51st. That's where I got the 5-1. Some squad 51, and it was the 34th. So I met most of you guys, some of you guys on Warbirds.
And Will, I think you were a bit younger than the rest of us when you started, right?
Yeah, just a tinsy bit. I think I was 16 or 17 when I first raced with you guys. And I joined up through Al had a link in his forum profile on PlayNet on World War II Online, and Mike Blangen and I, who he raced with us too, we both signed up and got to 2K3 and started racing. So I came over just seeing Al's link there in his forum signature. I was like, oh, that'll be pretty cool, because he used to have the link with his race car was your form tag there for a while.
Yeah.
So, and then I ran with you guys for a while, and then got busy with school, and then I just happened to check my Windows email a few years ago when Sarge sent out the email putting the band back together, and I didn't even know you guys broke up. I thought you were still racing the whole 20 years. So,
Well, to set the stage for those listening, you got to remember this is 2002 we're talking about. So some of us, myself included, were just barely out of dial-up. I was on an old DSL. In fact, it was brand new to my town having DSL, having something faster than 6K modems.
Horse and buggy.
Yeah, yeah. So we had user forums. We didn't have any social media. Didn't have Discord kind of chat, stuff going on. We had user forums. Most of the time, it was me talking to myself because nobody ever responded. So. In fact, when we fired it back up in 2020, it was still just me talking to myself.
Jabs, I got to thank you for putting the thing up to speed geezers, because I had totally forgotten about that. Was how we used to communicate.
I put that up.
Okay, well, whoever put it up, I had totally forgotten about that.
Wasn't TeamSpeak available at the time?
I think it was, but very few of us used it, as I recall.
Yeah.
TeamSpeak and Roger Wilco. But
Yeah,
small
I remember
group.
all that.
Yeah, Roger Wilco.
Yeah, I remember
At
that.
point, Ntrl.
Yeah, getting TeamSpeak overlay to work correctly while you're in the race.
Yeah, I know KB and I didn't use it because we didn't want to be distracted while we were racing.
Mm-mm.
I was afraid
Yeah.
my internet connection couldn't handle that. So,
I think,
Raptor,
for
tell
me,
me
the
how.
first time hearing y'all's voices was a meetup, because I never touched the in-game stuff. That
Are you
LAN
talking
party
about
in
when
Memphis.
you talking about when you met was in Memphis?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. I was gonna say, Raptor, tell me how Growl got started. I can talk about NTRL here in a second, but how did Growl get together? Because you guys were together before NTRL.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. If I did know the details of that, I've long forgotten it. So let's focus on the 20-year celebration of NTRL and hide the fact that I have Alzheimer's.
All right. Well,
That's not Alzheimer's. You just got the same problem the rest of us have. You're getting older.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Look at
There's
that.
when he was playing. There's when he was playing Pride and Joy.
Yeah.
Still
Still got the boots, Terry.
There's our young cougar.
I've got that guitar sitting about 15 feet away from me right now.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. So I had started a Madden football league in 2001, and it was called the AFFL, the Almost Famous Football League. And I think that's where I met JC, I believe.
I joined that too. We were doing
maybe
some
JC came
Madden
in after.
football. It was like
Yeah.
the first Madden.
I'm a little fuzzy on who came in when, but when I picked up a copy of it at Sam's Club, I was like, cool, you can do online franchise with this. This is really neat. I'm on a 56K dial-up modem. Will this work? Let's try. So I would sit on my computer every night, dialed in on the server because I was the league commissioner. And so everyone would have to log into my computer, get their stats, go off and play their game, then reconnect to my server.
Right.
The data would get transmitted into the league so that all the stats would be there. And we had some ups and downs with that. My internet would go out, games would get corrupted, stuff like that. But it took me several months to get a group of guys together that weren't flaky, like I had to cut through the chaff, kick people out and all that. Somewhere along the line, Frank Salina joined my football league. And 2002, early 2002, he's like, hey, I just picked up this NASCAR racing game. I think it'd be cool to do a league. And I'm like, yeah, sounds good. Hey, we can poll all the guys that are in the football league with us running Madden here and see who wants to race. And that was the core group of the Ntrl in 2002. And then, like we said in my article and our discussions, like it was 3 months later when we met Growl and we did the intra league,
I didn't realize that it was so close. Like I didn't realize that NTRL started and then just, several months later, we got connected with the Growl group. I thought it was much further. Like I thought it was like a year or two. So that's a surprise to me.
It was pretty close. Yeah. So I'm looking at the stats.
You were talking earlier about race servers for NTRL and so forth. And Cooper here had a question about like how much easier is our lives on iRacing compared to what we used to run within NASCAR racing. And I mean, we figured out how to set up the servers pretty well, but there was a lot of I think there was a lot of issues in the early years, especially getting races going. And didn't we also have like some limits that about how many drivers the servers could support? Like I don't remember, but I thought there was something along that line.
Well, I know that
I don't think we had the problem when you provided it because you had so much bandwidth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you did have a limit
before doing that. Yeah, there would have been major.
Yeah. Well, certainly
I think you only allowed 20 something into the Growl race because I remember being scared that I wouldn't be able to race in the race because I'd have to qualify.
Yeah, we definitely had qualifying numbers. I don't remember whether it was 20 or 30. I don't remember. We had a big number at one point. Like we had a big number. JC, you might remember that better than even I do. But I know we sent people home on some races because they didn't qualify well enough.
Yeah, we had a limit of 24 on the original servers. And at some stage we were getting 40 turning up, and it was a case of, well, we'll have to run the race before as a qualifying, and whoever gets through that can race on race night. Yeah, so the good old days. But I was on the dial-up from Australia, of course, so my ping times were in the toilet when I could get through. But yeah, managed to stick it out.
Well, at least it's spun the other way, though.
Yeah.
I think one, and Rafter, you may remember, and I may be totally off base. I think one of the reasons we put a limit in was one, we didn't want performance issues, but the other was we felt that if we had 40 people show up.
Pause for thought.
What the hell?
Wait, are we back on dial-up? Oh, this really is a 20th anniversary. Wow.
That face looks very kissable. That looks a very kissable face he was making there. Say again there, Slider. You got hung up, Slider. Say it again.
I said, I think part of it was maybe performance, but I think part of it was we had, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be totally off base. I think we had so many people showing up because you were putting it out on the World War II online forums. And at that point, there were so many people in World War II online that we were just having tons of people show up.
Yeah.
And if we put them all in the race at the skill level some of them were at, it was just going to be a wreck fest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the first race I remember of NTRL when I came in, it was at Martinsville, and yes, we had green flag pit stops in a field of about 20 in Marty in the old NASCAR, and I thought, oh, this is the league for me. Needless to say, it was another 4 years before we actually did another green flag pit stop.
Well, I'm glad to hear you.
After that.
I'm glad to hear to say that, because I think we sometimes get the good old days syndrome when we think, there's a race going on these days in NTRL, and there's 6 or 7 cautions or whatever, and everybody's all grumping, oh my God, this racing is terrible. I'm guilty of it too, but I think we have the good old days syndrome sometimes when we think back about NASCAR racing. I think we had our share of caution races.
Oh yeah, we had a ton of caution races, but I think one of the big things that I think is right about the good old days syndrome is that back in those times, there wasn't, 10 years ago it was like this. That was the beginning, and it was really cool to be participating in something that was new like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I could never have imagined playing the old single player racing games like the old Indianapolis 500, where you're racing against all of these other computer players. I could never have imagined being able to hook up with 30 people on a computer and race with people all across the world. That was just foreign.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And back to the question of, has iRacing made it easier? Oh, by far, as far as running the races. Being able to right click and say throw a caution, right click, clear a black penalty. We could do all that with texting, because kind of back to the conversation about, did we use TeamSpeak and Roger Wilco and stuff like that? Pretty much everything was text. We communicated on user forums, we chatted in the race on text. Very little voice conversations. So it was all, we didn't really know each other. We didn't know each other's voices or anything like that. It was all text.
Well,
I think another big difference is y'all get to, for the admins, I mean, y'all have somebody to point the fingers at now if something goes wrong. Back in the day, if something went wrong with the server and Rafter was at a Christmas party, he's getting a phone call, or the stats go wrong, Sarge is getting a phone call. Now you can say, oh, it's iRacing's fault. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, blame it on iRacing. Well, now we can set up these races in advance. They just run, if nobody's there to run it or admin it, it's still okay. It's going to function.
So, we're talking about how we got going, and there's Growl and there's NTRL, and we got, recruiting through World War II online and blah, blah, blah. But I'd be interested in what, you guys are all the old guys just like me. And I'd be interested in some takes on our recruitment since we moved to iRacing, and what kind of changes does that feel like to you? Or is it also a good old days syndrome thing where you don't like, or do like the way we're changing things with recruit? I'm just curious what people think, because it's a different, right? It's a different deal.
I'm curious too, because JC, you took a sabbatical, last year for a little while. Slider, you're taking one right now. Kevin, you kind of decided you're going to retire, or you have retired at this point. You disappeared on us early last year as well. Is it the switch to iRacing from NR that has killed it for you, or is it the newer drivers that we've brought in and their talent level that they have?
That's probably good for me. Every driver you've brought in is so far above my level that I don't even see I see them barging through because, hey, you'll get out of the way, and off they come. And you've got to get out of the way because they'll just run you over. And so their talent level is so high that I don't get to see them. So therefore, you've recruited 15 of those, which puts me 16th, just beating Keno.
For me, it's racing is my social time. I'm in Discord. I'm chatting with people. I'm in Discord during the week, texting with people back and forth. This is my social group, particularly since the pandemic. And I have always described and continue to describe the NPRL as the best friends that you have just met. And we continue to recruit and keep people that really mesh with us well on a personality level. You can be a super fast racer, but we had somebody in one of the recruitment races this past season that, like, he was in the race with a friend of his, and his friend was a jerk, and we kicked him out. And he said, "Why'd you kick my boy out?" We kicked him out too. We don't keep people who wouldn't mesh well with our personalities. And so I love racing everybody. And Raptor, you on 2 different occasions, and Sarge, you on 1 occasion, have come to me because, both me and Dustin have a reputation for getting frustrated and just quitting. And you both come to me on separate occasions and had side conversations with me that say, just keep plugging because the race is great. We run very long races and stuff changes all the time. And even if you get in a wreck and have to use your back repairing 2 laps down, that doesn't mean that you can't come back. And I think my best was I was dead last and I came back to a 6th or 5th place position. I've come in 4th place just off the podium at Daytona. I don't know how. And so the racing side of it is just luck. And to have the opportunity to hang out with people that I get along so well is the real draw for me. And so I don't really care where I place. It's just fun to come out week after week and do something that I enjoy doing. And where I finish doesn't matter.
KB, how about you? I mean, like I said, you've retired at this point, walked away from it last year. Is it like JC said, it just, you weren't competitive anymore and it just took the fun out of it?
Yeah, it was kind of that. I've really retired from working, so that was part of it. And I started getting back into the flight simulator stuff, with that Flight Sim 2020. And so I bought, I don't know if you saw that, where I took a picture of the Garmin G1000 suite that I bought. Goes with that. So setting up that and then setting up the racing stuff, I have to take that stuff kind of all apart and everything. So not saying I'll never do it again, but I'm taking some time off.
Well, I guess that's our next series, Raptor. It's the OG series. So.
Right. Yeah.
Old guys, OG old guys.
You have to put a bullet in my brain before I run open setups again. I'm sorry. I don't have that kind of time left in my life.
All right, a couple more trivia stats questions for you. Who has the most wins in Ntrl history?
KB.
It's KB.
246.
Yep. KB with 44. Who do you think's next?
I think Cougar.
Raptor.
I think Cougar.
No.
No, not Cougar.
Nope,
No, I'd have to go with Slider. The numbers say go with Slider.
Slider, 34. Yeah. Nobody's going to remember this number. Who's third right now? It's Adam Hoffrecht.
Oh, yeah,
Bully
Bully.
pulpit.
Bully.
Yeah. Bully
Yeah.
had 21 wins. Chaz had 19. Now, here's what's interesting to me. Our top 5 wins, the person in 5th is Skyler. As short of a time frame as he's been on, on scene with us, he's got 14. Johnny's
he's also taking a sabbatical.
And he's taking a sabbatical right now, right? Johnny's right behind, or kind of close behind him with 11.
Who's had the most second place finishes?
Hold your hand up, Raptor.
But I think it's pretty interesting that, in only like 2 seasons, Johnny's already cracking into our top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
On wins. And that guy goes with JC is saying, we got a lot of talent, right now in the league, and it's hard for us old guys to keep up with.
Yeah. Well, I just keep wondering, where is that cliff, you fall off of? I think we would all agree we might have seen 1 or 2 of us fall off that cliff and of being able to be competitive. It's like, I wonder where that cliff is, because is it that these guys are that much better, or is it this we're slowly falling into the abyss? Like I don't know anymore whether or not our performance is falling off, or whether or not these guys are just that much better, because we've been racing, in some cases 15 years longer than some of these guys who are appearing in our league, 15 years or more, and yet they're kicking our pants,
So here's
Well,
how
I
I
don't
look.
know about y'all, but for me, I'm back in the growl NTRL days, the early NTRL days. I was spending a lot of time practicing.
Yeah.
That would make that would
I
be
don't
two
do
of
that
us.
anymore.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good point, Terry. Yeah.
You think about to what you said earlier. After you think about it, when we ran open setup, you had no choice. You had to spend time building your setup.
Yeah.
So I run hundreds of laps sometimes
Yeah.
at track just practicing.
Yep. You're right. It's a good point.
But see,
So here's
I've
go ahead,
never
JC.
been good to start with, and then I taper off as I get older. So I mean, I may as well be in reverse, going backwards around the track.
But here's how I look at it. Johnny and Skylar are this generation's KB and Slider. That's how I look at it for the NTRL. Because when I finish out the top 10 on wins, number 7 is a guy none of you know, Scott 3-Rip Kading.
I remember him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 10 wins. I'd have to go back and see what seasons those were, but he still sits in 7th of all time for the NTRL. So to me, that's kind of telling that it's not necessarily that we've brought in all the. I mean, yeah, we've got in a lot of guys that are fast. Kyle, Gretsch, Parasini, Benson's quick, Kendall, Klinkhart, a bunch of these guys, that are fast, but until that caution late last week, which messed up AJ Bennis from getting his first victory, we were going 7 for 7 on race winners versus races. We were, here we are, second half of the season has started, and we were having a different winner each race, and almost kept up that through last week. So I don't think it's per se. Yeah, I think you're right, Cougar. We don't spend as much time behind the wheel as we used to. I personally, hell, I missed Friday night's race in the other league because I was sitting on my couch, not even thinking about the race. So it's the new generation. But JC, you're tied for 8th of all time with 8 wins right now. All right, eventually you'll fall out of that top 10, but I think it's going to take a little bit. Maybe not too long. You got 9 wins. You're tied with a guy from season 1, though. That's what's interesting to me. Eden Pahil.
Oh God, I'd forgot about him. He was fast.
Yeah, he ran for the first 3 seasons, I think, of NTRL. I have no idea what happened to him after that, where he disappeared to or anything like that. But he's got 9 wins in those first 3 seasons, and he's still in the top 10. Wayne is number 10. He's got 8 wins.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So we're into a new generation, but yet some old timers that have long been gone out of the league are still in our top 10.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it's that we've all gotten bad or anything. We just have other commitments these days.
And my experience as I'm thinking about it is I don't know for sure that we are that much slower. Like there have been times when Johnny has come past me and now I'm the lap down, but I can hang with it for 10 or 15, 20 laps, but he has consistency that I can't pull. And so then he starts pulling away. I think what I've seen
I'm going to need Jabs to sign as well because his audio is.
Jabs, I just sent you another message. That's not the mic. You must have another mic working through Zoom because you are still the same part. I messaged him a minute ago. Let him know. So
you know what? I bet it was the headset over there. I bet it was
there
my
you
VR
are.
headset.
There you are.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Could you just
Finally,
hey Jabs, could you just quickly recap everything you said earlier in the Zoom call, please?
You know what? I can give the elevator pitch. This group is I have always described them as the best friends that you just met. The recruiting that we do pulls more people that are like that. And people that are like that don't mesh with us personality wise don't make it into the league. They don't stay in the league. And this is a really great group of people. And this is my social time. And
Gotcha.
So I don't care where I wind up finishing. Me and Dustin both have a reputation for crashing out and getting frustrated and leaving. And Al, Rafter, you and Sarge have both at different times taken me aside and said, fortunes change during a race, and if you stick it out, you know, and that's how I wound up, you know, at a Daytona race, coming from last to just one position off the podium behind Skyler and behind Johnny Rocket and somebody else. I don't remember who it was. And I think that we do have a lot of the speed. What I've noticed is I can get lapped by Johnny, but then hang with him for 10, 15, 20 laps. I think the big difference is I don't have the consistency he has. And so I can't do the same thing over and over and over and over the way he can. And I've seen others of us do that, where as soon as you get behind the example driver, we get it together and we can hang there for a while. And I think that's the difference, is the consistency. Because I know when I don't have a lead car, I am nowhere near as consistent.
Yeah.
And maybe I can move this back up here now.
I love the way on the sim at the moment that you can hang with that lead car, but you realise, wow, I'm burning up my stuff here. So where he can do it for 35 laps, you can do it for 15. And I fall for it every time. Hey, look at that. I'm hanging with the leaders. I'm so cool. Oh, there go my
tyres. All right, so Raptor's giving me the spin up cue, wrapping this thing up a little bit. So I'll rattle through some more. All right, so most laps led is Cobra, then Slider, then Chaz, then Skyler. There he is again in the top 5 in only just a few seasons, you know, and then Adam Hochrecht, number 5. So that's one of those where it takes races in the league to move up that chain, but Skyler's already in the top 5. So highest lap leading percentage in more than 10 starts with the league. Who do you think that is?
That would probably be Skyler.
It
is.
Yeah. He's got 32 starts. He's led 53% of the laps that he has been in. There's a crazy stat for you. But I thought what was really interesting is Eden Pahilj, that I mentioned earlier, is still in number 2.
Wow.
18 starts in the league, and he has 34%. Big drop, 53% down to 34%. That tells you how much, you know, how well Skyler can dominate, you know, in this league. Johnny's in number 3. He's got 37 starts now with us, 33% led. Chaz and Cobra are tied at 4th at 31%. Scott Kading in 6th at 30%. And I'm going to give an honorable mention to Ryan Andrew. I actually have not met him or really talked to him, I don't think. He doesn't race in the primary series, but this popped up on when I was looking at stats. And in 8 starts, he's led 47% of the laps that he's done.
I think that's Legends. That's the 87 Legends, I believe.
Yeah. Come run a race with him. You'll understand why real quickly.
Yeah. So if he ends up in Xfinity here, you know, next season or something like that, there's going to be another contender going up against these top guys.
So I believe that he does. He can't race on Monday nights in ARCA because of his schedule. So he's raced raced Tuesdays in Legends, and he's definitely got an eye on Xfinity next season.
All right. Another stat that make me feel good: I have the most top 10s. I've just got more starts, right? But what did I say? How many starts? Sorry, I am pretty happy about this stat though. In 222 starts, I have 200 top 10s.
How many of those races had more than 10 people in them?
That's what I'll say. So 180 of the races, we only had 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like golf, man. It's what's on the scorecard, not how I got it.
You know, I
remember, I had played golf with you before.
So
I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but there's one thing I want to make sure that we pointed out, these new guys got to see as well. You know, this league's been around for a long time, and what I think is special about it, what has kept me coming back, is with the exception, I think, of Jabs and Jester. You know, JC and Rafter, I've had over at my house, and I've had dinner with the rest of y'all multiple times, and you know, we race all of the time, but y'all are my friends as well, and I think that's what made this league special for me.
Well said. And I'll just say, you know, I'm hoping to make a trip this year and meet up with some of these new guys and have and have the same kind of friendship that we have, Terry and JC, and hell, JC made an umpteen trips across the pond to come stay with us, and it's the highlight stories of my family, So I hope that's the kind of thing that continues, for years. That's what I hope.
Yeah, I remember going to was Cincinnati, and was Cougar and JC. I know you were there. Cougar, did you come up for that game?
I think when we met up, it was in Knoxville.
It was in Memphis.
Well,
no,
no,
Memphis, and then we went to Knoxville.
I met him up in Knoxville, but I went to Cincinnati to an NFL game with JC, I think, and I thought somebody else was there. But I had my wife and my daughter there, and we always talk about the pyramid of glasses that JC had made, because you don't get refills in Australia, but he can drink all the Coca-Cola he wants in the US. So he had a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the award from Ntrl that made me, when you were having the convention in Memphis, and I'd won the most popular driver award, I thought, well, I best come over and accept my award. That started a nasty tradition of at least 2 trips a year to the US, staying with Chaz and Rafter and then Cougar and meeting up with you every time we got into.
So I've cost you a hell of a lot of money in your life.
Well, yeah, there is a little bit of that, but you bundling the family into the back of the truck and then driving for 6 hours so we could have dinner somewhere, whether it be North Carolina or Tennessee, or it was that friendship level is what keeps me in it.
Yeah. I mean, first time I ever met Rafter in person, I'm on the phone with him because he's in Bristol. He's driven all the way from Texas to Bristol to see a race, and it snows in April. And I'm like, I can't remember how I even got hold of you. I guess I had your phone number. I don't know. Somehow maybe we were texting or something. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm sitting in a bar. And I'm like, dude, you're an hour away. Come up here, have a nice, evening.
I had no place to stay because.
Well, now he's got the 56K dial-up problem going on.
Oh, have I?
There you go. You're back.
Okay. I'm just going to say I had no place to stay because I was planning on camping out. And I think I may have texted you asking if you knew any local hotels or something.
Yeah, you were going to stay in your car.
Yeah.
I was like it's too
Bristol
cold
has
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, Bristol has like 3 hotels, and guess what? They're all filled on race weekend, So
you can't get within 2 hours of that track.
Sarge came down because it was snowing, and he actually drove down to Bristol. I don't know if you remember that, but you drove down.
No, I don't remember driving down.
Yeah.
Okay.
You drove down, and I followed you back to your place, and we put the dog in the shed, and you gave me a place to stay that night. That was
and Tom Wheeler. Somehow he had come to the race.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. So you ended up on the couch, and Tom ended up in one of my girls' rooms, and we just moved everybody around for the night.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the first time we met.
And my wife the whole time was like, "You better be out there with a gun because you don't know these people."
Well, that brings up the story, Sarge, when we were getting together, and I said, "But buddy, I could be an axe murderer. You don't know, and you're inviting me into your house, and we get together." And you said, "Well, JC, you've been running trucks on Mondays and cup cars on Thursdays for 2 years. If you're an axe murderer prepared to put in that sort of effort, you deserve the kill."
Oh. All right. Well, this has been a blast. All right. So finally, as we go into tonight's race, number 246 at Phoenix, we have ran there 8 times. Who do you think's got the most wins at Phoenix?
Well, that's a toughie. That could even be Rafter. He likes that track.
It's not me, I'm sure.
Nope. Yep, Slider, you might want to show up tonight because you've got 2. Chaz has 2. Johnny has 1. So that means he's looking to tie the all-time Ntrl wins at Phoenix tonight. And he has the fastest lap time set there. He did it, I guess it would have been last season. He did ARCA car 28.469 seconds. So as we head towards our 250th race here in a few weeks, with this new generation of drivers, it's just, to me, I think it's cool. Yeah, we're not the guys at the top of the list anymore, but the league is, it's on to its next generation. And I appreciate you guys being here, even if it's more in spirit than it is on the track every week, and helping cultivate these new relationships and keep this thing going.
Thanks, Sarge. Appreciate you a lot.
All right. Thanks, Raffer, for putting this together. Thank you guys. Hope to see you on the track tonight.
See you guys.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. It's cool getting together with all y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.